How to use QuickBooks Test Drive to test out QuickBooks before you buy it or before you upgrade. In this video, I'm going to go over using the QuickBooks Test Drive account, the sample company, aka sample company. I'm going to actually create a transaction there to show you that it's a living and breathing resource for you to try things, and it's going to operate in most ways just like a normal account would. I'm also going to show you how to compare the simple start features and the lower tier features of QuickBooks Online with the more advanced features. And I'm going to show you how, using the Test Drive account, you can compare the difference, okay? All right, here we go. So how do we actually access Test Drive in the sample company? Well, just in your browser, type QuickBooks Test Drive. There we go. And usually it's the first one at the top, Test Drive QuickBooks. Now here you'll see that there are two options. There's the basic one, and then there's the advanced one. What's the difference? Well, if you look for QuickBooks Online plans and you explore plan options, you can see that the one that we're going to use, Simple Start, that's the basic Test Drive account, it doesn't have as many features as the advanced. You'll also note that the advanced is very expensive. So you'll probably want to check out advanced and make sure that you're going to be able to use those features and that you're well versed in using them before you actually upgrade, okay? Cool. So let's go ahead and try it. Now, there is a little I'm not a robot thing that goes on here, and if it takes too long, I'm going to speed this video up. Okay, so we made it into the account. Craig's Design and Landscaping Services Sample Company, the infamous Craig's Design and Landscaping Services. Okay, just very quickly, I'm going to give you a quick overview of what this test company is and what it is not. What it is a pre-populated account with transactions in there. Some are in review, some are already in the registers. You'll see that there's a chart of accounts that's already been established. There are reports that you can look at right from the outset. And this is a platform for you to play with, experiment, test, and learn the features of QuickBooks Online. What it is not is a way for you to do your books for free using QuickBooks, okay? You can put all your information in here, but when you reload it, like tomorrow, you refresh your browser, whatever, it's going to revert back to the default stuff, okay? And you'll note that if you click right here, there's some like hash, for the user account, okay? Now over here in this nav column, you'll note that we don't see all the advanced features, and also up here in the tools, we don't see the advanced features, but you would if you had selected the advanced version of the Test Drive account. I'm going to just prove to you real quick that this is pre-populated with information. And the cool thing is that a lot of the transactions, for example, that are here in review, they are set up so that you can experience the matching features of QuickBooks Online, okay? And learn how to do that. You'll also see that if you go to the bank register or the register of these different accounts, there are transactions there already, okay? So you can take a look at even editing things from within the register, okay? And if you come to our chart of accounts, you'll see that we have all these accounts already set up. They're pretty typical accounts. You'll also notice there's a brand new feature of QuickBooks Online as of today, I think, which is the tag here for balance sheet or profit and loss. So that just kind of helps clarify, will I see this account on my balance sheet, or will I see this account on my profit and loss statement? And it also, in my mind, it kind of helps me organize where I am, on the page looking at all these accounts. Your balance sheet stuff, of course, it's going to be your assets, liabilities, and equities, and your profit and loss statement will have your incomes and your expenses, okay? All right, cool. So I guess my point in showing you this is just that we see more registers with transactions already on them for you to take a look at. All right, now, I guess along with that, we have our reports. One of the most powerful features of QuickBooks Online is the reporting. very, very powerful, robust reporting. The reporting is almost on its own what makes QuickBooks Online like the king of bookkeeping platforms, general bookkeeping platforms. But the ones that we're going to look at on this little demo here will be the profit and loss and the balance sheet. So as we can see, we already have some stuff here in the profit and loss, and we already have some stuff in the balance sheet as well. Just take a look at that, okay? And if you were to go to the bank transactions and categorize these that are sitting here in for review for these accounts, then those reports will update. So you can see how, you can see how it works. And also to show you how it works, and also if you're like a super noob, I'm going to give you a quick little crash course into a typical transaction flow and just prove here that this is a living and breathing account where you can test all these different features. Probably if you're a noob, you're not going to understand everything about what I'm about to show you, but I should have links to other lessons in the video description if you want to learn more. And also for those folks who aren't super noobs, I will probably have a checklist for getting your QuickBooks kind of like ready at any moment to deliver to a tax preparer or to do your own taxes. So anyways, you can check that out. But at any rate, let's do something basic. Let's create an invoice. Let's receive payment to that invoice. Let's then deposit the payment. Okay? We'll go through that little flow. I'm going to do it all manually. So the first thing that I want to do before I start off on this is just show you what our profit and loss currently looks like. Okay? Note our design income, $2,250. Also, I will just mention there's a few limitations to this test account. One of them is that it kind of can get janky a little bit. So hopefully this is going to do what it normally does, if you were in a full-fledged account. But if there's a little jankiness, then we might have to refresh and click on things a couple times. But the other thing I want to mention is that some of these features are limited right now. For example, taxes. If I go to sales tax, the sales tax center is something that you would set up with a real account. And what it's going to help you do is when you make sales that involve sales tax, it's going to help you book those liabilities to the balance sheet. Again, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, don't worry about it, but it's going to come into play whenever I'll tell you what, we just won't include sales tax in the example that we do. We'll just keep it simple, okay? So let's go new, all right? New invoice. Here we go. We don't need to look at this or that or any of this, but you can. There's a lot to learn here. Let's just choose a customer. It's going to be Bill's Windsurf Shop, okay? Let's give a design is the product that we're going to sell to him. And we'll say 40 hours because we did a week's worth of work, $3,000. Now, you'll see that it comes default with California tax, but again, I'm not even going to include taxes on this one because it'll complicate things unnecessarily. Let's just save and close, okay? So we have our invoice saved. And if we come now to sales and invoices, we should see, if I sort by the date, Bill's Windsurf Shop. Here's our, you know what? This did it. This is the jankiness. Our invoice was for $3,000, but we're seeing $3,240 because it included sales tax, which we did not select. It forced sales tax. So you can see that sales tax right here. Okay, anyways, we're just going to have to roll with it. But that sales tax will not affect our profit and loss because sales tax is not part of income, right? That's a liability. So we see here the design income has increased. It was like $2,000 something before, and now adding that new $3,000 invoice, it's increased our income. Remember that we haven't actually received this money yet, but because we're looking at a accrual accounting method, it has recorded the income even though we just sent the invoice. So if we choose cash, you'll note that this will go down, should go down. Run report. Yes, and it did. So this is just another example of how using the test account can help you understand accounting in general. It's really powerful, okay? In fact, I'm going to do something. I don't know if it's really going to work, but I want to try because it would be great if I could show you. Right here, we don't actually see what is being credited and what is being debited. Okay, but if you're doing bookkeeping and you kind of want to understand what's going on, be aware that with double entry accounting, something has got to be credited and something has got to be debited. And if you come here to any of these transactions and you choose transaction journal, you can begin reverse engineering accounting. If this comes up, let's just see. And it does. Beautiful. So we can see here what got debited. Our accounts receivable got debited. Accounts receivable is an asset account. When you debit an asset account, the balance goes up. Okay? So there we go. And we credited something as well. Actually, what I wanted to do was just credit, the income. But anyways, it tacked on that sales tax. So we can see here as well. It has credited an income account and it has credited a liability account. So anyways, I won't get into this big lesson, but again, there will be links to double entry accounting and understanding debits and credits and all that stuff in the video description. Suffice it to say, we can go back to reports and we can go to balance sheet is fine. And we can see where that is sitting on our balance sheet. Accounts receivable right now. So we debited accounts receivable, and that's why we see it here. And we credited the income, which is on the profit and loss. Okay, cool. So now let's actually receive that income. We sent an invoice. That's great. The person knows they need to pay us. Now we're going to simulate them actually paying us, right? Let's say that they paid us with a check. So if we come to invoices, sales and invoices, and we look at that invoice right here, and we go receive payment. The customer's bill, that's right. This is all fine. This is the invoice that we're going to receive payment to, and this is the amount that we received. And that covers the entire open balance of this invoice, okay? Now, where is it going to deposit to? Imagine in our scenario here, we are receiving by check. So let's choose check. The check, I have not deposited it yet. Let's just say I went to the customer and I got it, or he met me, she met me, whatever. They gave me the check, but I haven't deposited it, and therefore it's going to sit here in undeposited funds. So we're going to save and close. And if we come again to our reports, standard reports, and we look at our balance sheet, we're going to see that accounts receivable should be zero. And this undeposited funds is here. I got you. Okay. Right. I'm going to click on this. Transaction journal. Cool. So this is what happened, and I'm glad that we're seeing this. Again, this is like a way to verify what's going on under the hood. We debited undeposited funds, which is an asset account, and we credited accounts receivable, which is also an asset account. When you debit an asset account, the balance goes up. When you credit an asset account, the balance goes down. Therefore, I should see a decrease in accounts receivable by this much. And I feel like I didn't see that when I just looked at our report, which again is like an example of the jankiness potentially of utilizing the test account, okay? But let's just take a look here. Probably what would have helped is if I had made the invoice a day in the past. Let's just see here. I'm on my profit and loss. We need to look at the balance sheet. Accounts receivable, it's still here. That invoice is still sitting here. I'm going to see if perhaps, go down, buddy. Oh, here we go. No, it did move those funds to undeposited funds. I'm not sure why the total for this is not updating, but that is good. Like we're seeing what needed to happen, which is it moved that amount out of accounts receivable. You see it minus here and into undeposited funds. 4879, accounts receivable, not 4879. Anyways, let's not bother about it. It doesn't matter. I think, again, this is like a jankiness. Okay. 4879. At any rate, let's go ahead and say we now deposit the check. Okay. So what I want you to note here is our checking is this, and our undeposited funds is this. Okay. So if we go ahead and do deposit, bank deposit, and we are going to deposit the check to the checking account, we're going to choose that check right here that we received, but we haven't deposited it yet. And we go save and close. I'm going to refresh my report. Do I need to? No, we don't. Okay, checking just increased. It increased by that amount. If I come here, I'll see we have these funds came from undeposited funds. That was our check. That it was making undeposited funds have a balance like that. And undeposited funds now has been decreased, right? We moved it out of undeposited funds and into our actual checking account. So that's great. That's good. I'm looking for our accounts receivable, still sitting here. Very interesting. Maybe it was at 5,281 before we ever started, and it's just kind of a coincidence. That's very possible. No, I mean, it shouldn't be. Honestly, I'm not sure why. But again, I think this is just a limitation, again, of the test account. But my point in showing you all of this is simply that you can use this test account to practice and to learn not only how to use QuickBooks Online, but accounting in general, okay? All right, cool. So I think I'm going to leave it at that for this lesson or this video, okay? If you want to learn more, like I said, there's going to be videos down there. And I think I will also do one in the future for the advanced version of Test Drive. So I'll leave it at that, and you go run your awesome business, okay? Use this to try out the features of QuickBooks Online. And until I see you next time, be the best.